Hello, everybody. No, I don't need any response. I'm perfectly fine just
Hey,
being able to talk to anybody and not see anybody and be all by myself.
You scared me.
Recording all of this crap. Every time I see Philip K., I think Philip K. Dick, the author. What a lively talkative bunch we have today. Might actually go switch. Ah, all right, there we go. Got a different webcam going on. Everyone hear me okay?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Alrighty. This is their chair now. Oh. All right, I'm going to share on my desktop. Anyone want to guess? It will only take one. Give you two guesses, but it'll only take you one to figure out what exactly I'm going to start with today. Anybody going once, going twice? Oh, come on, we're gonna start with
Repository.
Creating a repository.
make a new repository. Let's go ahead and do that. This is, what's this, week 3? Yeah, it's definitely day 3. So, module 3, day 3. Let's go ahead and give it a private, not private, I don't want private repository, but we'll give it a read. Yay, all right, so I'm going to grab this, making sure it's on SSH, right? Everybody good?
All good.
Let's do, I need to move this because it's going to be annoying. Git clone cd module 3 day 3. And we have a project. All right, so we're going to try to go through about 4 different things today. We'll see how much time we get through, but as always, I'm going to pack it as full as I possibly can. First, we're going to do a little bit of review on higher order functions, okay, just to make sure everybody kind of got them, saw them, sees them, plays with them, that kind of thing. Also, last week at the same time, I forgot about the rule about putting brackets on and then it doesn't return unless it's explicitly returned and all that kind of mess. So I'll go through that. We're going to do another module, so you can do a module install, but also the module, we're going to install something called Lodash, and it gives you a bunch of functional programming mix-ins that you can put in, which is pretty cool stuff. I have a little bit of additional JavaScript functionality. I thought I would show you guys just because you'll run into it, but I may save that for the end. Then we're going to access the local file system. So I'm going to show you how to read and write to the file system so that you can read and write files directly and in theory make wonderful, beautiful programs. We'll do stuff. And then for the last thing we'll do today, we'll actually install another module and we'll start making web requests. So we'll download some data from the interwebs so that you can pull directly into your application and then use as you see fit. So a lot of fun stuff today. Any questions before we get started? All righty, so let's go real quick. I'm going to pull up Node. We're going to create a quick object here. We'll just call it our testing object. And I'm going to put, I don't know, a couple things in there. We'll put A, 1, B, Smith, D, sorry. More than all right, so I just created a JavaScript object, right? It's basically JSON data. If you guys, by the way, JavaScript objects basically are like JSON. If you haven't already seen it, we can do testing, right? And you'll see everything that's in there. They are different because JavaScript objects can contain a lot more. They can actually contain other JavaScript objects that contain functions. They have things like prototypes and constructors, so that you can not only store JSON in there, but you can store other JavaScript in there. JSON is just text, right? It's a data format for transferring things like a text file or like XML or something like that. JSON, JavaScript objects are actually, they look like JSON, but they also have additional JavaScript capabilities in there. And we can see that from, if I can do like testing. There's my prototype. And you can see that my default prototype is a type object with a null operator. So JSON doesn't have a double underscore prototype, right? But just like any kind of JavaScript object, I can obviously do like testing.a, and I'll get the value of A. Or the other format, which is sometimes handy, which does the same thing. This format here, you'll run into sometimes when the dot operator here can't be used because the content in there has spaces or something like that. So if we did like testing, let's create another one, I guess. You'll see that I have a quote limited my thing there, but I obviously can't do testing my thing, right? That just blows up on me. So when you're trying to access something that has more input on the name value, there you can use this other format. So you'll see that sometimes as well. Questions? Anything? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. I guess we will move on from there. Okay. So let's what else was I going to do? Oh yeah, let's install Lodash. Okay. So let's exit out of here and oh no, I'm sorry. I wanted to go through some of the higher order function stuff. Okay, so when we did our original higher order functions, right? So we did we'll do testing dot for each, right? Oh, it's got to be an array for that. Testing. Okay, so now we have an array. It has 7 objects in there, and they're just numbers in any order, right? And so we used one of our functional programming methodologies, the myArray, with for each, right? And then we passed in a fat arrow function that allows us to do something like console log x plus 2. And that just multiplies our entire array by 2. So notice that this is an anonymous function, right? Using the fat arrow notation, which is this piece here. It works the exact same as if we did something like function myAdder x. Right, this is the exact same format. Except I need to actually adder. Right, and then what we would do is wrap a for loop through that, but instead we actually send in the function and execute directly from inside of that. So a couple things about this fat arrow notation is that first, you don't have to declare it because it's anonymous. Second, if you put brackets around it, and I did this the other day, right? While we were actually in class, come on. So I did my array, that for each x. Only in this case, I want to, well, no, we'll just kind of do this for each. We'll do x. Actually, that's only going to cause me problems on map. On the last time I did it, I did it like this. And the problem with that is these brackets basically tell the fat arrow format that I don't want to use the default, which is to return whatever the value is on this. Instead, I just want to execute this call. If I wanted to also return a value in there, I'd need to do something like return x. So if you put the curly brackets around that, you're going to get into problems with that. So it has, wait, this is when, if you don't have those curly brackets, this is what's called an implicit return, which means it assumes the last thing that's executed is going to be returned as the output value. The reason why this matters is because if we do my array map, I get, well, we'll just do x plus 2. And that sends that, but I can put that into I can put that into a new variable, and thing is equal to the output of what I just ran, because map returns the value of whatever's done inside of our function there, our anonymous function. But if I do something like thing2, and I put this bracket around here, I am going to get nothing back, because thing2 didn't get any return values. Nothing got explicitly returned. Okay, so just keep that in mind that there are implicit returns. You don't need brackets if it's going to be a one-liner. If you end up needing to put brackets in, so we do like a thing3, right? You'll need to just make sure that you do return x plus 2. Or in this case, I need to return it specifically, so I can do return this, and then thing3 will return what I'm expecting. Okay. Questions before we move on to that? Yay. Okay, so let's take a look at not async yet. I was going to do, no, let's do that. Okay, so let's install a package now on this project of ours. Oh, got nothing in there yet. So we're gonna do npm install Lodash, Lodash. The documentation for Lodash can be found here. We've actually had the Lodash core developer show up here at in Oklahoma City. He came for the Thunder Plains concert. I almost said concert, conference at one point in time. What Lodash does is it gives you a whole bunch of additional functional programming mix-ins that you can use for all kinds of things. So we'll just kind of demonstrate that here in just a sec. All right, so let's jump over to our Lodash. I'm going to create a file. And we're going to try this with code because you guys use VS Code all the time. So. And I've got it zoomed in a bunch. How do I zoom or? I don't know how to zoom in or zoom out of it.
It looks zoomed in to me. I can see it pretty clearly.
Yeah, this is a little bit more than I wanted, but okay.
Control minus is my work.
Control minus. Excellent. Okay, 1 second. I need this over here for just a second. Had some specific examples I wanted to work with, and I can't get to them right now. What's that? Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to break all this because I decided to use the to show you guys the import method last time, didn't I? Okay, so back over to here. What did I do? Did I do import last time or did I do? Look up the other. You guys get to see all my stuff. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do import. Historically, the reason why it's called Lodash is because it uses the underscore. This is just by convention. You can actually put anything you want in there, right?
What was the install command? I missed it.
Same as all the install commands, npm install Lodash.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, so we're gonna go to Lodash and we're gonna try, let's do a const my array. I like the words my a lot, can you tell? Okay, so I'm just giving an array with some values in there. So far, so good. And if you actually look through the Lodash documentation, can I find it? Here we go. Let's look at the one that I want to use right now is called underscore unique NIQU. No need unique ID, no unique, here we go. Okay, so what this does is this allows you to pass a unique, an object or an array into, and it will give you a unique list of values back. So let's take a look at that real quick. If I do my underscore dot uniq, then we can pass it in my array, right? I just need you to go away and stop doing things for me. So now if I do node index.h, and does anybody remember what the fix for this is? We talked about it last week. I'm gonna
Put
wait
it
for
in git ignore.
sorry, what?
Put it in git ignore.
Put it in what? Where the heck do I get to my file
I
system?
think you said get ignored. Do we have to update the JSON?
That's right. What do I need to put in my JSON? Come on, look at your notes. If you guys haven't figured this out, we create repositories every time, we commit our stuff in there, we set up our project files, we install some packages, and then we write some code in there. This is half repetition and half new stuff. I've got all day, you're good. Anytime. Come on, folks, you're gonna run into this if you not used to it.
We add type module.
Thank you, type. MODULE, and make sure you put the comma in there, otherwise it's gonna get really cranky. And just to be sure, let's see what we do with our array first. I want to console log out the original array. So now you'll see that the major difference is that, of course, we've got two separate arrays. One of them only contains unique information on there. So that's pretty handy. I think this is ugly, so I may just do npm install console log colors. Sweet. Let's do import
Got a typo in green.
Took you guys 22 minutes to tell me that I was missing the type module in there, but green you noticed right away, really?
What's the difference in these two imports?
Okay, so what I'm doing, that's a great question. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm importing the entire Lodash module, the entire thing, all of it. Okay. And I'm setting it to this variable. So basically, yeah, it's the same as doing Lodash dat something because I've brought in the whole entire thing. In this case, I don't want everything console log colors has. It's got a lot. And it's just not necessary. And honestly, it'll probably break examples if I try to make it too complex. So I just pull in the things I need. So what I do is there's a name for this. It's called pattern matching or whatever inside of JavaScript, where I say I want to just take out the 3 or 4 things I need from console log and not the rest. It makes the program faster. It doesn't have to load as much, and there's less likelihood of you actually getting into trouble messing up things.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
So I'm somehow running into the exact same problem that I created last week. It's something I'm doing wrong. Where I am cloning it, I'm able to make changes to the index.js file, but whenever I'm trying to install
Wait, changes. Did you make an index.js file?
yes,
Where is it saved at?
module 3 week 4. Like it's in the same file as my README. When I'm in my terminal and I do pwd, I'm in module 3 week 4.
What do you see when you see ls?
I only see index.js in the README, but I
Okay.
have installed Lodash. I keep installing Lodash into
Okay, all right,
module
wait a
3.
minute. Type get status. Tell me what you see. Get
Here, let me-
everybody. Shut up.
Oh, can I show you? Okay.
You want to share screen for a minute?
Yeah.
Untrack files, untrack. So I do pwd again. Do get stat. Okay, do a cd dot dot. Space. I'm sorry, cd space dot dot. Do ls for me. Okay. This was already a OK Coders. Looks like it was already a Git repository. Do a Git log for me. It is not a Git repository. Okay, so it looks like you ran the npm install inside of OK Coders, not inside of Lodash. But from
But
right
you did
there,
this. I did the pwd, I'm in module 3. I
Uh-huh.
installed it into module 3.
okay, I think you did it in here first, and so it might be looking back and sticking it in the package JSON back here. Do a Type here, let me see if I can find type the following commands. I can't get the chat window. It does this every time. There we go. You're gonna want to do from the directory, you're in RM.
I'm in OK Coders right now.
Yeah. You're gonna want to run that command from OK Coders.
Oh, we're removing it like we did the other day.
Okay, do an ls. Okay, now go back into your module 3 week, whatever it is. Okay, try your npm install again. Do an ls. Yay, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fun. Let's see. We're missing a couple people this week, aren't we? Am I scaring everybody away? I guess nobody's going to answer that. That's probably a bad sign, right? So let's do. All right. Color. And I'm going to try running this just for the fun of it. There we go. So you can see I'm using two different modules and I'm integrating the modules of what I'm working with as we're going along here. So the only reason I did this was to show you that if we can do an npm install in Lodash and the console log colors, we can integrate them together. We can use them together. It's all just, it's all just adding additional modules and functionality, which is kind of the main point of all of this. Good, yes, sort of, kind of, maybe. Anybody? All right, let's do order by. I'm thinking that works best for so I'm gonna do I think I can give it, yes. See if I remember this correctly. Well, it definitely didn't do anything, so that's good, because what you really want is let me check the documentation on this. Let me make sure that I've got the I'm sorry, sort by. I obviously have no idea what I'm doing. Where is sort by? For sort by is meant for objects that are any place. Anyway, I'm going to leave all this because this is wrong, and you guys have got enough examples of me screwing things up, and I really want to get to file system stuff today. So we're going to skip all this for now. You can all laugh in the background. That's great. Thank you. But let's go ahead and get to some of the other stuff I wanted to, which is really where the interesting parts are today. And that is file system access. So we're going to start by creating a file. We just need we need a data file to read stuff in from, okay? So let's create a new file. I don't know how to create a file in this. Great. I'm trying not to do it with the command line, but we'll call it data.json. I'm going to open up data.json and let's put in, I've got a copy of some of this data in here for fun. Okay, so I'm just going to put some kind of object or array in there. Actually, that's probably more complicated than we need, especially as we're trying to demonstrate this. So let's do it like this. Let's do first name. And I'll put Bobby, and then last name. That's going to get really messy real quick. Okay. I'm keeping it as JSON data just because it's easy to read and write, and we can put it into things, and you can easily deserialize that and then use that in your code base. But if you're wanting to save some information or something like that, it's very, very easy to go in there and be able to use that. So everybody have a first name, last name file or some kind of data? I don't actually care what kind of data. Yes, no, maybe, anybody? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent,
Yes.
thank you. All right, so let's go back to our index.js file. I'm gonna do a quick get status on this whole thing. Ooh, no, we're gonna. All right, so I ran 3 commands. We did this last week. I echoed the node modules file into my gitignore so that we don't upload every single package that we install every single solitary time. I ran git status, git add -a once I knew that I had the files that I needed. And then I committed the whole thing up to class.
Can you scroll back up a little bit?
I think the one you're probably most concerned with is this
Yep, that's it.
here. The commands look like this. No, not that. I don't need you to help me in this case. Git commit. Right, that's what the 3 commands are. I'm going to comment these out so that I don't like blow up my my JavaScript compiler. But there you go. All right, so Node comes default being able to read and write to the file system. That's kind of what it is, right? It's JavaScript only more than just inside the browser. So we're going to define a const of file system, and then we're just going to require that we use the built-in file system method. So you'll notice that I don't have to, I'm not importing this. There is actually a way to do it from an import, but this is like the way that it's always done, because if you're reading and writing to the file system, you're generally writing like not React native kind of file system stuff. And technically, I guess you could import this. No, if we're trying to read write files directly, this is probably the best way to go. But so let's just try to read in the file system to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to do const file. All right, and the way we do this is file system I've got a whole bunch of links that are in the class material for day 5 under module 3. The file system documentation, examples of how to read and write and all that kind of stuff. But just to kind of see what's going on at first, let's do read file sync, sync. All right, then we give it a path. And our path is going to be data.json. Remember, we're running this from the same folder we're in. This is where pathing becomes important. The // means I'm in the same folder as my index.js file is a file called data.json. If you don't put that, it's not going to find it because it doesn't know to look in the folder that you're currently in, right? So let's just start with that. And actually, I'm going to start with nothing, and I'll explain that in just a second because it's just kind of entertaining. So, whoop. Gotta save that to something. Let's do console log. All right, so all we have to do is add the file system library that we want to read and write from the file system. We fs read file system sync, we specify file name, and then I'm going to output that to a log file. Okay, let's see what happens when we do it. And something blew up because they didn't like it. Not sure what blew up, but let's find out.
Says requires not defined.
Require is not defined, yeah. This really sucks because this is how let's try import. I don't think it's gonna like this though. Oh, it did. All right. Sorry, we're using the module, so I get to use the import. Great. All right, so we can see we've got the two things we did before. Check this out though. Do you know what that is? That is the actual memory buffer data. Remember, everything's binary on the computer, so it's the buffer array information. So that's great. We've actually read the file, but it's not in a usable format, right? So what we need to do is we need to specify the encoding. The encoding gives it a hint about the language, right? And then how to take the data that's coming in. If you look at this encoding matches up to the character. So that's like open curly bracket, space, quote, you know, all of them like that. That's the encoded, that's the unencoded value. So we're going to encode it to UTF-8, which is, anyone know what UTF-8 is? English. And if we encode it to UTF-8, that's what we get. I just think that's cool because you're reading the actual raw unencoded numbers from the file system. Now, there's a problem with this that I want to demonstrate to you, okay? Or show you real quick. And that is that this is what is called a synchronous file access method. So sync file access. This is going to be important as you're working into the other classes, and that's why I wanted to demonstrate this way. This is called synchronous because it has to be run in order. First, this has to run, and it has to complete before this can run, which means that this whole thing, the entire, like, the program actually stops running anything else until this completes. This isn't a huge problem for something this short when the data is that long, but let's pretend this data.json file is massive, right? And there's a whole bunch of stuff going up there. You'll actually freeze your runtime environment while this is running. It's even a bigger deal when you're talking about web applications because you may be getting data from the internet, but you don't want to wait until it all comes back. You want to start loading up the page, and then as the images come back, then update the page with the images as they get populated and everything else like that. Synchronous file access is historically bad. Also, if you can do things in an asynchronous manner, meaning it does not have to be executed in order, That's pure functional programming. Functional programming allows us to basically continue running, do the job, and then finish in whatever order it needs, knowing that it can continue. It even allows you to parallel process, because you can actually run these jobs on separate processes of the computer without blocking everything on the computer. So how would we do this in an asynchronous way? So let's do, all right, looks a little bit different. We're gonna do FS. We'll still do our read file. Okay, and then we're still gonna do the data.json, right? That all looks good. Okay, we still need the encoding. So we're going to do encoding TF8. All right. But we have another option on here. If you look, see my instructions right above there? You can see right in here. Path is the first argument, options on the path. And then there is also this callback right there. Remember our callback functions? We just did some on like our for each loop and that kind of thing, the higher order functions, right? So there is an optional callback where we can actually pass it a function to execute on this. So in this case, I can do that by simply doing an anonymous function that takes two arguments. One is an error, and the other one is the file data, right? If I can hide the File Explorer, there we go. So our third optional argument is going to be a function. Now we could declare a function up here and let it run someplace else. So if we're going to do a lot of things to this file, maybe we actually want a const function thing is equal to function, right? I mean, we could do that up there and pull that out, and then we could just put that function name right there if we wanted to. And I can demonstrate that if you guys want to see it. But we can just call a function, execute that function, and because the file system read file knows about the function, it's going to pass the function in and execute it after it's gotten the data done. But this doesn't hold up our process. Everything can continue running, and we can parallelize it out. We can get our data in from the interwebs while this is going on and still load up our React pages or whatever else like that without being a blocking function. So let's see this run, because I'm sure I did it wrong and I broke something. Oh, excellent. I did break something. I'm going to make this one red so we know it's the wrong color. Color red. So this is not how we should do it. We could, but that's not how we should do it. The better way is to do it the second method with the async function. Async functions are really powerful, and one of the strengths of functional programming. In fact, they're so important that things that require massively multi-processor simultaneous processing, like, I don't know, AI and stuff like that, have to be done asynchronously, because if there's any blocking operations, that will keep the entire thing from running until those get done. The easiest way to think about it, you guys remember your if-else statements? If you do an if-else statement, the processor needs to finish which direction to go before it can move on to the next instruction. Otherwise, it has to back all the way back up, right? It can't simultaneously go down both paths, although some processors try to fake that and then dump the data from the one. Well, asynchronous methods allow us to basically run at speed without slowing anything down because the operations themselves aren't blocking. So this is kind of this is kind of a big, I mean, it's kind of complicated. I get that, but are there any questions?
Mine's not logging anything for the asynchronous when I run my JavaScript.
Let's see if we can find you. Not that. That's not what I need. I can find a way to not share screen anymore, I'll help you out. This is great. I can't figure out that my computer is hiding. I've got too many windows open and my computer is actually hiding the stop share screen button. So I'm gonna have to, oh, excellent. What's that? There we go. Okay, go ahead and share it out with me real quick.
It says I cannot share while other people are sharing.
Let me try this again. It's gone again. Excellent. There's nothing quite as nice as when the stuff works so smoothly. Oh, wait, I think I got it. Give me a sec. Well, it kicked me off, so you should definitely be able to share now.
I still see your screen.
Do you really?
Mhm.
This is fantastic. I can't share while somebody else is sharing because Bob Rockers is still on here, supposedly sharing. But
There it goes.
I'll share real quick.
All right. So as far as I can tell, this is exactly as yours. But when I node index.js, I get a blank line.
It's the F.
The F.
That
So
looks
it
good
did
to
look
share.
weird. I didn't know how
Oh.
to change that.
You
Do I need to
put
put it in brackets?
data.json, not JSON.
You're right. I did. Thank you.
Look at that. You guys are starting to get eyes for code now.
Bam. Thank you.
Also, I loved the fact that you chose your own color combinations instead of going with what I said. That's that's like the essence of Packardom right there. Be like, yeah, fuck this. I'm doing it my way. So very, very proud, very proud. All right. Let me get my other stuff back up so that we can finish up what we're working on here. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't see what the comment was. Oh, I hate this message every time I'm trying. 99% of the time, it's a typo. Yeah. When it's not a typo, it's doing exactly what you said. You just told it the wrong thing because you didn't know any better is what the other problem is. So, all right. So let's do one other thing. I got file system access. Oh yeah, I want to do a request example. Okay, so let me share my screen out. So for fun and games, let's hit the internet, okay? I want to download some data from the internet and display it. So we're going to we're going to install another package. Oh, we should definitely update, right? Git status. I've got to do this, otherwise I don't get my green dots. Need green dots every day. All right. So we're going to need to install another package, okay? You don't actually have to do this. JavaScript has native web understanding, but it's complicated because it basically is designed to handle all use cases. So we're going to install a package to make this easier. So we're going to do, I'm blocking my own vision with this. There we go. So I'm going to do npm install request. Yay. All right. Notice that my package.json file and package lock file got updated. Every time we're doing that, what's happening is that our dependencies are getting updated in there. The reason for this is really simple. I'll show you afterwards, because you'll just see here. We'll see in just a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and use our request. We're going to import request from request. Look at that. I've done this enough. Evidently, it knows what I want. Okay. Now we're going to make a web request. And I have, actually, this was something that I got from Zach years ago. But there's a JSON placeholder website that provides stuff for us. So I don't have to figure out how in the heck to get this to work out of the box. I mean, I don't have to figure out a URL for you guys to go to that's safe. Okay, so this is, you can go away. So this is the URL you're going to need. It's JSON placeholder posts. Let me put it in the chat channel real quick. Assuming I can find the chat channel. Okay. This is basically just a dummy API endpoint. It provides data as JSON data, so it makes it really easy for you to pull into a variable and do stuff with if you want to mess with it. Okay, but it's just for fun. When you guys write web applications, you're going to write back-end software that's going to provide these API endpoints. Some of the endpoints will create things, some of them will delete things, some of them will update things. Right? But you're going to create the back-end endpoints, and then you use your front end to talk to these endpoints. The reason is because if you allow your front end to update, delete your data directly, then they can just hack your whole database and everything happens. But if you have it up on the server, then that stuff is isolated. Also, because you need to read and write locally, you can't read and write locally in the browser. So you have to have a backend that you're talking to. And this is kind of an example of backend. So we're just going to grab some of the sample data off of here. I just need to specify a function. So we are going to do, I don't know, error, response, and the body of our message. Okay. And this is big, so I'm going to put brackets, but that means I have to remember that it doesn't provide a return type. Okay. And I'm going to do this so you can see it, but the first thing I need to do is parse the data because it's going to come back as a body tag, like you're hitting web URL almost. So if I don't parse the data into JSON, it's going to come back as just raw text, and then I really can't do anything with it. But we'll do a console log color blue parsed, but I don't have blue, do I? So I'm probably going to have to go up here and add blue to my colors. Okay, so what's happening here is that it's going to use the request package to build a URL request to request the data off the internet to pull it down. And then it takes a function, because this is a higher order function here. It takes a function that has three values: an error type it's going to give, a response type. So if you need to know like the URL, the header, your response codes, 201, 202, 404, 502, all those kind of things. This is when your browser returns a request. Depending on the type of request, it's going to give different response codes. So response has a whole bunch of different kinds of data in there that's usually not the actual web page, but stuff about how well the web page did, what the headers it allowed are, that kind of stuff. And then the actual body of the request, which in our case is some JSON. Okay. So let's give this a test because no doubt I have messed this up as well. Yay! Oh, I got a lot of data back. Oh, excellent. Well, that means, sweet. We need to do something with that data. So let's do something with that data. We'll do parsed for each. All right, then we'll take our X. I'm just going to delete this. Am I missing one? Do I need one more? There we go. Sweet, we got a whole bunch of data. So let's get see what happens when we get the whole lots of data back. Oh, there's objects inside of objects. I guess
You're
we-
printing parsed again instead of X in the,
Oh, thank you. Okay, so now we have just an object inside of our object, so that's good. I wonder if this would be better if I just did. I say that because. There we go. Yeah, because I'm doing the color and because it's a complicated object, it's actually can't colorize it correctly. So instead of putting the color on there, I'm just going to print the raw object, and then the command line output thing will actually take care of it for us. As you can see, I've got these JavaScript objects that come back. I've got a user ID, an ID, a title, and a body. Almost like these were posts on a website, right? And this is all data from the internet. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Nothing. Really? That was cool, guys. Come on. Jeez. What do I have to do to impress anyone around here?
I'd be more impressed if I could make it work.
Well, I
This-
can't help
It's
with
not a you
that.
problem. Our lack of being excited is not a you problem.
Can't help it with that. Status, get dash A, get commit. Look at this, I'm finishing up on time, actually. All right, so there's a lot in this file. There's actually not a lot in this file. It's only 28 lines. I'd be fired for spending an hour writing 28 lines. But there's a lot happening. We're using 4 different libraries, right? It's all inside of GitHub. We're doing a couple different things with higher order functions. We're doing file level access, and we're doing web stuff here. Oh, I didn't even think about this. One second. Come here, where are you at? I need this one. Yes. Where are you at? Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. It was such a short period of time. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to try one last thing here. Let's see if I can do this. To JSON, we are going to do file system write file sync. We're going to, this may be like, I'm just maybe pushing the boundaries of any chance of me actually being reasonably impressed with myself here, but New web stuff.json. Okay, so the second argument is the data we want to put in there. So we're going to say parsed. And the third data and the third thing in there is looks like that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, let's find out if this works. It probably has not, but you guys still with me?
Yep.
Data must be an argument of type string or an instance of buffer. Okay, so we need to do parsed. No. To string.
I think mine worked. Was it supposed to make a new web stuff.json?
It was. There's the new web stuff.json. Let me see. Object. Of course. Anyway. But you get the point. We're getting closer on this. Yours worked though, huh?
Sure enough.
Uh, Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why it didn't work. Maybe I can serialize that. Wonder if it'll override it. Yeah, it doesn't like it. Actually, I would assume it's a parsed to string. I'm surprised that parsed is doing that. Right? No, it should be okay. I don't know what I broke, but okay. I could just do like this. Yeah. Now I'm just playing around so you guys can. Still doesn't like it. Yeah, it's just showing object. It's I'm not printing the JSON as a string. Anyway, but it's something to
I put something in the chat if you want to try that line.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how cool that is that you're putting stuff in the JSON stringify. You're doing body directly. Does it work with parsed or just with body? Look at this, you're
It
talking
works for both, actually.
with as programmers now. Yes, look at that. Great job. Take that. Yay! All right. JSON capital echo will probably not work. You probably have to do lowercase echo. All right, questions, comments, thoughts, anything, anybody? Sorry, there was a lot covered today, but hopefully it was cool stuff. You guys can, by the way, here, let me show you what the. Oh, no, I can't get to it right now. Anyway, but yeah, I have updated the class notes. They'll have example code in there as well as the updated README. There's links inside the README, but there are literally hundreds and thousands of these JavaScript modules. You can use them inside your applications. Obviously, you can do layouts and colors and formats. And so now you guys have all the tools with reading and writing to the file system and reading, writing some of the web stuff to actually do, any kind of basic JavaScript programming. It obviously gets pretty complicated really fast. So it's entirely possible that what I've shown you is enough to just kind of get yourselves hurt, but it's enough to get started, and it's a lot of fun to mess with it. So, is there anything I can do for any of
I think I missed installing something somewhere.
you? Shauna,
I learn a lot slower than you teach.
that is, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's see. I did as far as I did. Actually, I'll just type them in here. npm install Lodash. npm install request. npm install console colors.
That's it. That's what I don't have. That's it.
Here, let me share out real quick for anybody who's running into the same thing. If you define it here, other than file system, because file system's a built-in, anything else, if it says from someplace, import from someplace, that's what you have to install. Actually, that's what I should show you real quick. Okay, let me do a quick. Let me do one quick example of why I do this the way that I do it. Oh, did I stop sharing again?
Yes.
Sorry.
That worked, by the way. My code works now. That was all it was.
Let me show you something real quick, guys. I mean, if you've got the time, if you don't, then that's fine. You can take off. But I think it will be helpful. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill something. Laugh it up, Fuzzball. You were the one that didn't know how to install shit just a second ago, all right? So, all right, let me commit this up real quick. Git add dash git commit dash m last of the stuff. I didn't even spell it right. That's all right. We're good to go. Let me see if I still have it in here, because that would actually be really helpful if I did. There it is. No, that's the old one. Okay, so let me pull down the repo real quick. Big repo. This stuff I just did today. Where's module 3-3? Okay. So I'm going to copy this code down. All right, so I'm going to clone this out into a separate location. All right. Now, if I try to clone it here, I'm going to get into trouble because I already have a module 3 day 3. Actually, this isn't day 3. This is day 4, isn't it? Anyway, so instead, I'm going to make a temp directory. CD in the temp directory. All right. And git clone. So I just uploaded it. I'm going to download it again, but in a separate location. All right. And this is why this matters, because if I go into here and I try to run node index.js, it can't. There's no Lodash imported, right? So the very first line that I have, it's failing out at because I don't have them imported. And the reason why was because we got we got rid of that. We told Git to ignore that node modules folder, right? Because we don't want to install every module every time that we push something up to Git. But Node handles that for us. So instead of having to do, I could do npm install Lodash like I did before, but I don't have to, because if you remember, and I look at my package.json file, it remembers them. It not only remembers, but remembers the version. I installed console Lodash and request. So what usually happens, and this is what happens anytime you work on a project that is somebody else's, the first time you drop it down, I just do an npm install. It looks in that file and downloads all the packages for me automatically, and then I can do, and it will run it all. So that way, once you do the npm install Lodash or whatever, it updates that one file, that package.json file, and from then on, as long as you commit that up to GitHub, all you have to do is download the file, do an npm install, and start running the software. That's the reason why we do that. I'll also update the notes with that little tidbit of information. But that also explains why I tell everybody I would always update the README with a comment or two, stuff we learned in class week day four, not day
Day 5.
day five, not day 3. Sorry. And then I always do and we do this on our production stuff, set up, run, npm install. Sorry. Setup. Node index. Yes. So people will know how to actually run the program right away. And all the setup and installation stuff is in there. If you look into something like the thing I was working on today, which is our super secret project, I'm messing with a tech startup that I think we're really, really, really stinking close to getting started. But if you actually go into our project here, you'll see in the README, install NVM to get the right version of Node, run the setup and configuration to run in local development, do this. Then you open your browser to here, AWS setup keys if you need them, CLI access for things, and run the AWS CLI deployment command. So all of the instructions to actually run this project are directly in there all the time. That way, we don't have to remember it. And every time anytime we hire somebody or start a new thing, we've got all of the instructions right there in the README. They can download npm install, follow a couple instructions for users or connecting to databases or whatever, and boom, off and running. So, oh, maybe I should commit this. Boom. And then I can back out of this directory because I already have it in rm-rf tab. Now, if I cd into module 3, I say week 3. I said day 3, didn't I? Hit pull. Hey, it updated my README because I pushed it up to GitHub. So when I went to the other folder that's the same project, I did get a git pull and it downloaded all my updates. So there you go. All right, that was cool, but obviously totally off subject. So anything else? I've only got like 4 of you left.
I'm good now. Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah,
you.
I'm really nice to you guys considering that I'm all alone by myself in a dark room.
Looks pretty bright to me, Bobby.
Nobody likes you, Jason. I'm just telling you. Guys, have a great, great day. I'll see you on Saturday.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
Saturday. Thanks, Bobby.